It's Brainwash with Dr. Tom and Guitar Picks with Eric Perrotti. Django Reinhardt, Tears.
Django Reinhardt was a gypsy musician. I think his biggest time period would have been probably, if I'm not mistaken, probably the 1940s or so. And he was a jazz musician, a really great jazz musician that also had a violin player in his group, a guy named Stéphane Grappelli. And this was a real interesting thing to hear some of this. I'm actually looking for the sheet music on that because it's not one that I have memorized, but I would play an excerpt of it for you. This is an arrangement that I've done of Tears. And the one arrangement that I've given to you is actually Django playing, and it's a bit faster than the version that I have arranged of Tears. It's even not the most typical Django song, but for some reason I've always loved this tune, and the main riff of it is like this. There you go. I just like the minor key of it. It is, in all effect, like all of his music, a jazz tune, and he played many jazz standards, like Ain't Misbehavin'. I said that because I thought about putting that on the list, too. It's not, so I gotta sneak it in there. It's the 21st song. But he did many, traditional pieces that were around that day, the jazz standards, but his originals always had as much jazz elements, as many as they had, of a wandering gypsy, which is what he really was. So I really like his music because also he was this amazing guitar player that had the only use of his index and middle finger of his left hand. He had damaged the other two, I believe, in a fire, but they kind of fused together and they went all the way to the other side of his hand, that he could utilize those to create chords that most people who have four fingers can't play. But when he would play some of the fastest riffs, he would use just these two fingers, and it's fascinating. I encourage anybody who doesn't know that name to get to know Django Reinhardt. But actually, about a month or two ago, there was a Django Reinhardt festival, I believe, in Greenwich Village, and the turnout, they say, was unbelievable. Some of his living relatives, grandkids, I guess, or maybe his son or something. But the guitar players who tend to continue playing guitar, we have a tendency to usually go to things that are more challenging, and one of those things is jazz. And Django was one of the earlier jazz players. A different form of jazz than you would think of if you listen to people who are around today. But this is some of the roots of it, Django Reinhardt, so don't forget that name.
Now, you yourself are able to do some extraordinary things with your fingers. Would you describe for us what they are?
I don't know if they help in my guitar playing at all, but I know that aside from doing an audio, you're videotaping this, so I'll just do this in the video camera. I can take really any of these fingers, but the real genius is the index finger, primarily of my left.
And in fact, it shook when you just happened to shake your hand.
Well, I can bend them back really far, and if I use the aid of my right hand to grab my left hand finger, I can take the fingertip and bend it all the way around like a half circle and push my fingertip into the back of my hand and no, it doesn't hurt at all.